problem because, we want to change the volume of that. Good day, sir. Less hair. Yes, that's true. I have much less than I had. Which is a good thing. Oh, Yori Mulder. Just working on the UI stuff for Dashkin. Right now, I've been trying to make sure that user input and things like that work with the UI. And that things like using the controller to drive the mouse and everything like that works as well. Sorting out some bugs with that, and the current issue is the UI sound class stuff isn't set, so I'm trying to add support to that to the engine by basically calling set sound class on our stuff. Variable audio music is already ducking for menu. Yeah, that's true, but I'm talking about when Slate has a system for playing sounds, which is all hooked into the UI system. So there's like drop-down boxes where you can say like, when this is clicked, you can play this sound. And I'd like it that Adam could actually use, all those drop-downs and nice things, and not have to come tell me like, hey, I'd like a sound when this button's pressed. Could you go do that for me? I'd rather just say you'll just use the built-in drop-downs. But of course, the sound classes for that aren't set, so our sound settings that we have already implemented don't work, and there is no volume override for it, so I'm just adding support for that. So basically, yeah, the music is already ducking for menus, but the problem would be that all the sounds played through the UI wouldn't respect any of the other sound rules. So your master volume, your mute, none of that crap is going to work for the UI at the moment. So got to go add support for that. So let's see, it's the game instance, audio manager. Where is our init? So we have our audio utils that we create, game mode, mission manager. Well, it's just so Adam could even add them, because otherwise he has to go into the blueprint graph and, add like an on-click event and then make a play sound thing in there, and that's just not going to happen. And pretty much what would happen is then we wouldn't have any UI sounds, right? Because I've always got more important stuff to deal with than whatever Adam wants me to do. Alright, so we're going to set the set UI sound class is true for this guy. If platform windows load the object, the sound class, enable load sound class. It's not necessarily platform windows, right? It's going to be if we're a server, but whatever. Is this an iSlate? So we have to go to fslate application base. Is that inside public? Okay, that is inside public, so we can hopefully access that. Yeah, my computer is doing basically a full rebuild because of this thing. I changed a header file that everything uses. And I'm at what, 343 out of 1100? Thing's gonna take forever to build. Which means it's gonna take forever for Adam to build it too later. Welcome to the first hour of the stream where Adam builds the engine. That's how it goes. It's just how it is. Man. Slate has its claws in everything of changing the header files for that. Screwed all this crap up. Were there any errors? Doesn't look like it so far. So that's good at least. Well, we'll see. Keep Googling some of this stuff. Is there change audio volume? Unreal C++. Audio volume for UMG. Change simple way to change the global audio volume. Set sound mix override. Set bass sound mix. Didn't do anything. I like how all this is just UMG widget slider. I am creating a UMG with a sound slider. The slider increases the volume of the buttons clicked. The problem is I don't know how to reference the sound from the content browser. Alright. Create a sound cube for your button and assign it to the button sound. Inside of that, the initial settings of volume determine the starting volume, which will be played. From then on, it can be adjusted using the slider. What? See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is what they're telling people to do. You know, if you've got a widget, do like an unclicked event and then spawn sound and then set the sound volume based on your volume of the thing later. And it's like, no, that's stupid. That's way too much work. Like, it should just use the sound class. If you don't spawn the sound, yeah, that's real stupid. Like, what I would expect is there to be an engine configuration setting, which is setting the UI sound class and having some sort of sound class set function inside of the Slate application, so you can create a UI asset in there, and then just go ahead and instantiate it and change it at runtime, so that sound volumes get picked up at runtime. It makes sense, right? Because who wants to go mess with all this stuff? For every single time you want to play a sound, this doesn't even work. Because, like, this guy was like, oh, this will change it. It'd be like, no, it frickin' won't. Like, he never saved the button sound. So when, the value changes on this volume, it's not going to change the sound volume of the thing that's already playing. So it's always interesting to find what you would think would be really obvious stuff in a big engine like this, where it'd be like, I should be able to have a sound, a volume slider made entirely in UMG without editing core engine source code. And you'd be dead wrong. Nope, not supported. Like, what do you mean I can't have a sound? Every game has a sound slider. It'd be like, well, yeah, you can't do that if you want to use the built-in stuff, you'll have to play every single sound manually. Like, all right, well, that's convenient. For your convenience, we have not implemented any of the things that you need. Congratulations. Looks like we're churning through these, though, pretty quickly now. And this is where it'd be nice to have a tool like Incredibuild or something like that with a whole bunch of other machines under desks down here. Because then I could compile all this stuff super fast. But alas, I only have one machine, and Incredibuild costs thousands of dollars. And I don't want to spend thousands of dollars. I'd rather sit here and die slowly. That's just how it works. So I gotta build it again, but it should be pretty quick because the only thing I did was change that audio manager stuff. So let's go to that audio bank and let us well, I'll have to build it again because I forgot my F check. I haven't heard anything from the Maelstrom guys in a day or two or so. So I thought they were going to push out an update, but then, like, radio silence. So, I don't know. They'll do what they're going to do. See how much more work I actually do for him, because I finished up the big stuff. Like, I've been just doing some telemetry work for him, which will go out in their next update, and one of those things, a whole bunch of information, but it's kind of it unless they want more long-term stuff going on. Like, I'm not going to be just like, oh, engineer on the line fixing bugs for him. That's not what I'm going to do. I've got my own game to work on. But if they need like large systems, such as we need a whole back-end infrastructure for matchmaking, but then again, I'm not really sure that. All right, so that's where the sound device is initialized. So let's see. I'm not. That's a sarcastic tone. If they need large systems that I already kind of can make, that's fine. Because I can go make a big system and make it work and not have it be something I need to support too much. But if I'm like go in and fix small bugs or something, there's a never ending amount of work of stuff, right? And then if there's you go fix something, you're kind of expected to go continue fixing something. So if you go fix like the little loot boxes floating on the water or some shit, then the next time there's some feature that needs loot boxes floating on the water, they're kind of like, hey, can you do that? You're the person who knows that system best. So if you don't, it's better just to never get started with any of that. All right. So let's hit that play button. So let's get our current application, get our current sound device, which is not null, but we are going to go call that and set our sound device, our sound class on our sound device to our SFX. So let's go in and see what. Tell me about it. Yeah. That's kind of the problem with build server stuff, is you get stuck. Because one of the things that pretty much every studio needs is build server support. Holy shit, it works. I mean, that's me using the controller. Well, that's cool. That's actually very handy. All right, so if that is working, then basically what I've got going on is we can use buttons, and we can use these press sound and hover sound and all that stuff, and it actually works. So good, let's delete it. So if we grab our objectives box, let's make it larger. Well, it depends. It's more once you start working on something that nobody else wants to work on. Okay, so the next thing is we could get the current rank that we have achieved. See, I wrote some of this down. Mission difficulty. All right, let's have the mission name. Yeah, let's go into those stage objectives. Fix those up. Yes, this should be the Honeymead font. Is there any wrapping on this thing? Yeah, this is better. Alright, let me see. Is this like there's a multi-line text box, but the problem is it's how is how is this what? Like, alright, so background color's not there, but why isn't the font getting set? What? Okay, that was real strange. And what is this line at the bottom here? Outline settings? Padding? Background, foreground? Scroll bar? Is read only? Background image? Well, I don't want a scroll bar. Scroll bar style? Well, we don't want a scroll bar. Well, maybe if we don't have words that are incredibly long, that'll never be an issue. Well, I don't want it to be editable. So we have a text box, but is read only should be true. So read only foreground color. Foreground color, right, I don't know. We'll just... So if it's read only, let's see what we can do with it. That's kind of the thing, is you gotta figure out what you can even do with the widgets that you got. Everything's clickable and editable and crazy bullshit. So we can copy it, and it changes the cursor to the thing. So maybe what I need to do is just uncheck is enabled. And then what that'll do is that'll allow this to work a lot more like what I'm expecting it to work. I mean, the enabled flag is making it so it's all gray, which is not what I want. So let me see. UMG multi-line text box that cannot be edited. Break line and multi-line text box with variable editable defaults properties. Alright, let me see. I mean, basically, other people have this. I need blueprints, change text box, show descriptions, different items. You can't have users select and edit the text. That's ridiculous, so I must set it to disabled, but that changes the text color to gray. This isn't going to work. What do? Do not use the editable text box. Not really seeing a text box, just text and text box. Text is most commonly used for displaying text. What kind of behavior are we expecting? If it shows text, you can modify. Jesus Christ, people are assholes. It's like, what did you expect? I expected, like fucking text wrapping to work properly. So the problem is, it looks like that these pieces of text that I'm expecting is yeah, the problem is the wrapping stuff. This is what I'm talking about with UMG, and just if you don't know which things are where, it's a little bit ridiculous. Such as, I'm looking all over the place for, just a text box, and it's like, well, just use text. If you're like, yeah, but text isn't doing multi-line, you're like, oh, well, that's because you didn't notice that there's a wrapping thing on the multi-line text box. So what is this? There's also a bind. So why don't we make this the stage description? I was looking at this. What is this bind? Create binding. So get stage description text, return node. Get stage description text. That's not very good, is it? That's not really what we want. Creates a new function on the widget blueprint that will return the binding data for this property. Yeah, I don't like it. So let's see what this looks like when we actually use it then. Yeah, and we can't select anything or any of that, and that looks good then. Can I duplicate this? Copy. Can we paste? Paste. Alright, here we go. Mission description. There's no description for, there's no header for stage 1? There is no description, is there? For stage 1, let's go change that. Let me see, what do we have for pre-stage here? First stage. Hmm. I mean, is that all we need then? Just some basic stuff like that? I think that's probably something like that is what we want. Nothing complicated, just some basics. I can remove some of these guys up there, maybe. mean, it's almost as if we don't need a tab menu. Yeah, so I think maybe tab menu is not something we need, because I'm not finding any good way to. There's nothing in here that I can really do. Like I could put the current rank and some other crap, but then we have to have something that's updating all the time, and it's a real pain in the ass to go put together. I don't know. I'm not sold on it, so I think I'm just gonna take it off the screen. What is our height? Our height is 40? Alright, so it's half of that. So why? Alright, so that appears to work just fine then. I think I'll just leave it like that then. So if there's no tab menu for in mission, just